we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage.
The other remarkable moment from yesterday's cabinet meeting, that is like every other cabinet meeting where they go around the horn and kiss Donald Trump's ass in succession. It's almost like a competition to see who can pucker up the tightest and really attach and affix their lips to the asshole of Donald Trump. Yesterday, Donald Trump put on a display of racism, the likes of which, to use Donald Trump's terms, we really haven't witnessed from him publicly in quite a while. He just jettisoned himself, just propelled himself into an attack on Ilhan Omar with vile racism about her being garbage and all her friends being garbage, and that her country stinks. Her country, being a citizen of the United States, is America, for that matter. But I want to talk about this, and so I brought in an expert on dealing with the assholery of Donald Trump, the logical leftist, none other than Mr. Jeff Waldorf. Jeff, thanks for joining me today.
Hello there. Thank you for inviting me to.
Yeah, listen, I figured you could share the load of the excrement that is coming out of Donald Trump's mouth, so I don't have to bear it alone.
Big one.
Did you watch this yesterday?
I did.
Were you, sir, surprised by this?
Let's just say I was not having Pikachu face over it.
I don't know what that means, but let's move on. Well, I do talk about this a lot, that the people who... Adam Johnson wrote a piece, the title of which I think is the tyranny of the not surprised guy. Being a YouTuber yourself with a YouTube channel, again, the logical leftist, you probably have seen this response from people where they say, well, is anybody surprised by this? Why are you surprised? As though we need to be surprised by something to talk about something that is important. Mm-hmm. I maintain we should hold on to our outrage, onto our shock about things that are not surprising. And this is one of those moments. He got differently aggressive and racist publicly than he normally does. And I think this can be chalked up to his declining mental state, to his declining physical state, that he's regressing back to the most comfortable position that he can hold, and that is vile, venomous, vitriolic racism. Let's start with the first clip, and then we will move from there, and I'll give you an opportunity to respond.
And when I see somebody like Ilhan Omar, who I don't know at all, but I always watch her for years. I've watched her complain about our Constitution, how she's being treated badly. Our Constitution, the United States of America, is a bad place. Hates everybody, hates Jewish people, hates everybody. And I think she's an incompetent person. She's a real terrible person. But when I watch what is happening in Minnesota, the land of 1,000 lakes, or however many lakes they have, they got a lot of lakes, but this beautiful place, and I see these people ripping it off, and now I'm understanding, and you're going to look at that, Scott, I hear they ripped off Somalians, ripped off that state for billions of dollars, billions, every year, billions of dollars, and they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country.
First of all, nobody said that's not politically correct. He's using language from the 90s. What's your beat on this, Jeff?
Well, first, I want to go back to what you were saying about surprise and, shock and outrage. And I think those are not necessarily mutually exclusive, right? But at the same time, it's like, even though I'm not surprised at the just amount of vitriolic racism that spews forth from his tiny personal butthole mouth, okay?
It is a personal butthole mouth, too.
Yes, because that's what it looks like, Okay, but anyway, I'm sorry to subject your audience to that as well. But
no, they're used to it.
If you already sat through a Trump clip, then you know it's coming.
Yeah.
But the outrage is there. I mean, he is denigrating Ilhan Omar, who is absolutely a brilliant congresswoman, very, very strong, very social justice motivated, which is probably why she, he hates her. One of the reasons, other reason, of course, is that she is black. Let's be honest with that.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, we got the racism angle, which is just absolutely disgusting. But let's go to the arguments that he made, about the Somalians, the Somali refugees in Minnesota, because he's absolutely wrong about all of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Totally wrong. Again, most of the people that are there are either citizens, permanent residents, or hold other, legal status. And so none of them are, because that he's going to go to the undocumented angle as well. I mean, it's always in the subtext, right? They don't belong here.
Right.
They're either illegal, or Trump's going to do something to make them illegal, which he is already in the process, I believe, of doing, if not having already done, taking away, refugee and protected status from Somali migrants. But again, all of what he says is absolutely wrong. I know that right-wing media is obsessed with you see, they're doing fraud, welfare fraud, pandemic relief fraud, which is funny because you had a lot of right-wingers and big companies involved in, what is it? Paycheck protection fraud. Didn't have to pay back any of it, used all that money, and then, fired people, and then juiced their own stock portfolios from it by buying back their own stocks. So, I mean, there's all sorts of fraud there, and it ain't Somali migrants that have done that. Okay. And of course, the other thing is, the other claim here is that, they're funding terror networks. Like, they're funding Al-Shabaab. No, they're not. They're sending money back to their families. And that's the thing. You have to have money to send back to your family, right? And you know what? Somali migrants, these refugees, they have been getting into white-collar jobs, making good money, becoming teachers, becoming business owners, helping the economy. I remember talking about, and I know this is different, a different group of people, Haitians in Springfield, Ohio.
Right. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs, the pets of the people who live there. Yeah.
Which people. They're not.
Of course they weren't.
And but what they actually did is when they went into Springfield, they revitalized the area. They revitalized the economy.
Local leaders said as much.
Yeah. They raised wages. They spurred on the building of new homes. And yes, of course, there's negative effects in that as well. How home prices went up, and some people complained about that. That's what happens when you grow an economy, that sometimes, especially in our country, our economy tends to leave some people behind. Okay. But overall, in Springfield, the Haitian community helped greatly.
Yeah, what I notice here so stark is just the projection of this. Like, he's claiming that he's watched her complain about the Constitution, the same Constitution that he has said on Truth Social he has every right to cancel, to terminate all rules and articles up to and including the Constitution of the United States. He says she hates the country. This coming from a guy who says that the people of Ohio are stupid. We're stupid. Our leaders are. He constantly denigrates the United States. I've never heard, by the way, her ever complain about the Constitution. I've never heard her complain about how unfairly she's treated. I have heard Donald Trump complain about how unfairly he's treated constantly, about how bad America is, how stupid Americans are. And then for him to say that she hates everybody, hates Jewish people, hates everybody. The biggest hater in American politics today is, in fact, Donald Trump. And I think that's self-evident even for MAGA. The other thing, and then I want to move on to the second clip, is that they ripped off they ripped off the Somalians. They ripped off the state for billions of dollars. Donald Trump is currently undergoing the largest grift in American history from the Oval Office of the White House, getting hundreds of millions of dollars worth of planes from Qatar and having his crypto nonsense completely funded by foreign nations in violation of the Emoluments Clause of the Constitution, which he claims to love and she hates, I guess. It just, none of it rings in with a reality lens at all.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Add too that he is, and you said too, he's violating the Emoluments Clause. He also is violating people's due process.
Yeah.
Okay. Ordering the violation of due process and also going after people, okay, attacking service members, congressmen who say to the military, hey, don't follow illegal orders, because that's what you're not supposed to follow illegal orders. So don't do it. Do your job. Follow the Constitution. Follow the laws of the land. But Trump doesn't believe in the laws of this country. He does not believe in this country at all. He believes that everything serves him and him alone.
He has said as much to Janet Mills, the mayor or the governor of Maine, that he is the law. He thinks he is the law. So let's get to the second clip. It kind of shifted. I broke it up into two parts because the first part mainly dealt with denigrating through racism Ilhan Omar. And the second really is more pouring hate and racism on the Somali community in general.
I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain, and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much.
Chief Bitch explaining about bitching is rich. Let me say this relative to the tipping point. It is always amazing to me that Donald Trump has, on day one, our country's going to be great again. We were a dead country. Now we're hot as a pistol, he says. How tenuous is Donald Trump's solution to making America great again? How tenuous is it? How weak is America that we're at a tipping point still after a year almost of Donald Trump having made the country great? It doesn't line up. And then you can tell he's just rambling and meandering because he fucked up and said, they come from paradise after he had just said their country stinks and it's garbage. It's just, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's just reverting and regressing to the most comfortable position for him, which is out and out anti-black racism. What do you think?
Exactly. Look, the contradictions there are just amazing. But whenever you hear this man speak, it's nothing but BS and contradictions. And so, I mean, I hate to be that guy, but not surprising to hear him say stuff like this. Yeah, I'm totally going to be that guy. But at the same time,
be you, Jeff. You be you.
Everything he says is just wrong.
Yeah.
It's just flat out wrong. I want to go back to a point where he said, oh, they don't add anything to our country. In 2015, over 181,000 refugee entrepreneurs generated by creating businesses $4.6 billion in business income. Yes. Do they send some money back to people in Somalia? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And by the way, that's not fraudulent. You're allowed to do that. But they also spend a lot of that money here.
Of course they do. They have to live. They have to pay rent. They have to buy groceries. It is absolutely a boost to the United States economy in a way that we do feel the deleterious effects of through the deportation process, through people not being able to go to work because they're afraid of being deported. Businesses are hurt by that. And by extension, so is the economy. You're right.
Right. And look, the fraud stuff, right? We got chief fraudster talking about how people are doing fraud. All right. That's the irony there. Okay. But the reality is, just like Trump being chief fraudster, the people that are doing the fraud are U.S. citizens, not Somali refugees. The majority, yes, dozens of people were charged in these fraud cases in Minnesota, right? But again, they're not all Somali refugees. In fact, and the terrorism thing, federal prosecutors didn't bring any terrorism financing charges in any of those fraud cases. There is a lack of evidence that any of the money was used by terror organizations like Al-Shabaab. So,
well, again, listen, if they had evidence of it, they would certainly bring that evidence to the public, because it would be the drum that they'd be banging on Fox News 24/7. It absolutely did not happen. The other thing that I did want to mention before we end here is at the very end of the meeting, when he says, "Thank you very much," and he gets up, right before that, someone was like applauding him by pounding the table like, yes, they are garbage. We don't want them in our country. This is not an isolated incident of some unhinged opinion that is only shared by Donald Trump.
Right.
This room is filled to the brim with white nationalists and people who want a white ethno state in the United States. The one black face in the entire room, Scott Turner, who happens to be, again, the HUD administrator, is not some kind of an accident. It's by design that he has his Christian nationalist defense secretary sitting next to him, and then his bootlicker, Cuban migrant or son of Cuban migrants, Marco Rubio, next to him. Either it's just it's just a continuation of the grossness. Put a fine point on it, and then I want you to talk about where people can find you, Jeff.
Well, let me just say that address that point that you made about some of his cabinet people being slightly diverse. They're tokens, okay? They're shields. What happens to tokens? They eventually get spent, okay? And that's what's going to happen in this situation, okay? Because as he is going after people like Ilhan Omar for being black, basically, because there's no substance to any of the arguments that he had made against her. Okay.
Well, they all apply to him. The only substance is if they turned around those accusations against him.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. And so, look, what we have here today at the end of the day is a cabinet meeting filled with white nationalists and racists, with Trump saying the most racist garbage stuff that isn't true, to rile up his base, to rile people up, to get them to, I don't know, turn out and to really just show up for him.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all that it comes down to. You show up for me. Because that's the only thing that's currently driving the Republican Party at this point. It is a cult of personality. It is a racist death cult of personality, but that's all it really is. And so, once again, it's not a surprise to see Trump going off and basically doing the thing that is most comfortable to him, which is to be a racist garbage person.
That right there is the fine point that we will end on. I would encourage everybody in the audience, if you're not already subscribed to Jeff, go find him on YouTube, find him on Blue Sky, and support his work. Independent media, very, very important. While the corporate media and mainstream media is asleep at the wheel, enabling Donald Trump, it's people like Jeff Waldorf who do a solid job in this space and need to be signal boosted, lifted up. So I appreciate you being here today, Jeff. Where else can people find you?
I think you pretty much nailed it all. I mean, I'm on Instagram as well.
All right.
Jeff Waldorf. And on Facebook as well. Facebook.com/Jeff Waldorf Show. You can see me post, fun, I guess, memes or whatever. And so, check that out. Follow me on the different platforms and check out my work, become a subscriber, and, and support other independent progressive media members as well. You mentioned This Space. I also do a live stream on a channel called This Space.
Oh, yeah.
With a lot of other very small independent media creators. Check that out.
Yeah, that is great. This Space is solid. The kind of the brainchild or help being organized by Matt Strackbine, the letter hack, a friend of the show, somebody we've collaborated with before. So thanks for joining me today, Jeff. And for those of you who would like to comment about this, you can comment below in the comment section, or you can call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. I love you and appreciate you for your engagement, your passion for making the country and by extension, the world a better place. I'll see you next time. Be genuine and take care of one another.